Hi, ladies. Welcome to Girl Wash Your Face, Chapter 10. I think I skipped another chapter in there, but I want to make sure I hit like the ones that I think will be most beneficial while we're in the group because we only have, I think, like 4 weeks left for Girl Wash Your Face summaries left before we're going to already be in November. It goes so fast. Okay, so chapter 12, the lie was I need to make myself smaller. And when I listened to it on audiobook. So when I was first listening to it, I thought this chapter was going to be about like weight and making yourself smaller. It wasn't at all. It was about like how you make yourself smaller and like less noticed or being less true to yourself. How you make yourself smaller so you don't make other people as uncomfortable. So she started it off saying how she went to like a summit or like a conference where there was like someone speaking. And he asked this question. He said, which parent did you crave love for more? So not like which parent did you love more, but which parent did you crave love more for? And she said that when he asked that question, it really opened up to her like a lot about her personality. Because the next question he said was, who did you have to be for them? So and this is going to tell you a lot about how you felt like you had to show up in the world. So which parent did you crave love for more, and who did you have to be for them? So for her, she craved love from her father the most. And to get his love, she felt like she had to be quiet, and she felt like she had to accomplish things. So basically any time she did something like really good, like some sort of like, like got an A or something or won a race, she would get his love, and she would get his love when she was reserved and small. So that is like how she lived her life for a really long time. She still is always going after accomplishments, and she realized when the speaker said that just showed her so much about how she was showing up in life. So I thought that was pretty powerful. And she said, what did you need to be to get it? So thinking about like how maybe you've moved through that already. Maybe that's something that you recognized in yourself, but just kind of realizing, who did you have to be? Did you have to always be doing something good? Did you have to be quiet? Did you have to be fun? Did you just anything like that? See if anything comes up. If nothing comes up, that's totally fine too. But for her, that was like huge. And she says, digging into the whys of how she behaved as an adult are what make her able to overcome her unhealthy habits. So really looking into why she's behaving certain ways has helped her move through those habits. This can be even taken back to like emotional eating. What is the why behind it? So any habit that we have, whether it's a personality type habit, whether it's like an emotional eating type habit, the only way to move through that is to like feel the yucky kind of feelings and figure out why it's happening. If we can get to the root of why, that's when we can change. That's when we can really change it. So that's important. So she says, who are you really? Embrace all of you, even if it makes others uncomfortable. So I think especially as ladies, we do this, right? We maybe we try to be like more reserved. Maybe we try to hide parts of us. But if we can embrace all of who we are and not worry about who it makes uncomfortable, it's just, we can live a lot easier and a lot less anxiety in our life. So she says, what are you doing to make yourself smaller? What are you doing to make yourself smaller? Are you not saying your dreams out loud? Are you shying away from your dreams? Are you not speaking up when you have something to say? So all of these things are like making us ourselves smaller. Are you not showing up as your full self because you're afraid people aren't going to like it? Are you denying who you are made to be? That's kind of good. So she says, if you have your work, she said she went to a conference and there were a lot of working moms there. And like, these are like working moms that have like crazy awesome businesses. And she kept hearing people saying, oh, it's just my hobby. My real job is my kids, or, oh, it's just my hobby, like downplaying it. So what are you downplaying in your life? She says, are you muting yourself to make others comfortable? Are you afraid to try something new because you're positive you will fail? We are all so afraid of failure. But if we let ourselves be in the fear of failure, we are never going to do anything. We're just gonna like kind of like float through life, not actually trying for anything, because you have to fail, like, or you have to be okay. You have to be willing to fail. And then if you fail, it's a learning opportunity. And if you don't, awesome. But if we're not willing to fail, we're never going to accomplish what we want to accomplish. And that's really hard if you have like a perfectionist type personality. If you feel like you have to do everything perfect, it's really hard to be willing to fail. But if you're not, you're going to just keep getting stuck places. Do you remain silent when you have so much to say? That I definitely fall into that category, and I catch myself more when I'm doing that. But there's so many times where I like won't say something when I want to say something, and I feel like catching myself and just saying it. Do you hesitate to say your dreams out loud for fear that someone's going to judge you? And she talked a lot about working moms versus stay-at-home moms, and how either side of it, there's like mommy guilt and there's shaming, where like if you're going out to work, people are like, oh, you care about work more than your kids, or blah, blah, blah. And if you stay at home, it's like, oh, all you do is stay at home, you don't make money. So there's stories on both sides of it. And all it is stories. It's what we make of it. So I know I was feeling so guilty for so long, like because I was able to stay home with Henry before I had Owen, and Adam had to work, and Adam didn't like his job. So guilty. And finally, I forget why, I was able to like realize that guilt, it was not serving me, and move through it, and realize like I am doing a huge job at home. I also, here I am downplaying my coaching and my math teaching. But I realized that guilt wasn't helping anyone. And that was my own story. Like Adam wasn't like keeping me from staying at home, right? It's not like he was like telling me I had to go to work and I was fighting him and staying at home. Like it was my story in my head. I was making myself feel guilty. So maybe you're making yourself feel guilty about something. This is like a total side tangent, and this is already getting longer than I wanted. But guilt is like a horrible emotion. It does not serve anything. It's something that if you're feeling guilty about something, that you really need to look at that and work through that. Realize why you're feeling it. Realize it's a story that you're playing in your head, and try to rewrite that story, because that guilt is not helping anybody. Oh, look at that. The next line, feelings of guilt is a disservice to you. Huh, maybe it wasn't a tangent. Yeah, so see, I wrote my notes yesterday, that's why. So feelings of guilt is a disservice to you. She says you might have guilt about your weight. You might have guilt about your education. You might have guilt about staying home or working, or not working enough, or working too much. Whatever that guilt is, it does not help anyone. I would say to work on guilt, you can start taking action towards what you do want. Might help you work on the guilt too. The easiest way to lose yourself is to refuse to acknowledge who you are. The easiest way to lose yourself is to refuse to acknowledge who you are. So show up as you. Like you are you on purpose. You're the only you. And you need to just like embrace it, all of it. Your dreams are not silly. They are your roadmap. So your dreams are your roadmap to what you want. Don't let someone else's opinion of you determine your self-worth. I thought was huge, right? Don't let someone else's opinion of you determine your self-worth. You were not made to be small. You want to, okay, so now this is like the what helped her part. She always says at the end, right? What helped her move through this. So number one is her willingness to offend. And this is really hard for us people pleasers because you want everyone to like you. You have to have a willingness to offend, not on purpose, of course, but we need to embrace the idea that everyone will not approve of us. It's just like, it's not going to happen. I was listening to a business podcast the other day, and she said it's like the rule of thirds. Like a third of the people that are like paying attention to you could like care less about you, take it or leave it. Like I'm thinking like on Facebook, right? They're scrolling past your stuff and they're like, it doesn't trigger anything positive or negative. You're just there, right? A third of the people are going to like not like you. They're not going to like what you're all about. Maybe they think you're too loud. Maybe they think you're too pretty. Maybe they think you're too, whatever it is, too funny, too not funny enough. A third of the people just won't be your people. And then a third of the people will be your people. They'll be the people who are like your biggest fans, your biggest supporters. And those are the people that you need to pay attention to. The third that are not your people, they're not your people. We have to not bother with them. That's so easy to say, but I know that it's so hard if you are a natural born people pleaser and you want everyone to like you. It's also hardest when those people that are not embracing our fullness are the people close to us. It's easier when it's someone far away and you can say, well, I don't care what they think of me. They're not in my life. But we need to focus on being our best, most loving version of ourselves. And if people basically can take it or leave it. But if you are being you and only you, that's like the goal. That's the way to just embrace yourself and not make yourself smaller and just be you. She said the second thing that helped her was a bold statement. So her bold statement was getting a wrist tattoo. She was always like, made this big story in her mind about she's not the kind of person that gets a wrist tattoo, but then she realized she did want a wrist tattoo. She was just like backing away from it because she didn't know what people would think. So she got I forget what it says on it, but she got a wrist tattoo. It might say I get to and then she said after that, I get to decide who I am. So you can choose what you like and do. It sounds so simple. And if you know this already, it's like, well, duh. But this is not something that everyone just knows. So if you do know that, awesome. Like you're further along. You can choose what you like and do. What do you like to do? And are you liking things because you think you should like them, or do you actually like them? I pretended to like so many random movies and shows for so long. And then I realized like, I don't like them. I don't like anything scary or anything that gives me anxiety. I don't like when people are having like super sad stuff and I have to watch it. All of that. I don't like it. And for so long, I pretended to like it because everyone else around me liked it. And I can tell it's a good show. I can tell why people like it, but it's not for me. And that's like sounds so trivial, but like even something like that, if you're pretending you like something and you don't, really think about that. We have like a family friend. I remember she told us, she's very like traditional. She told us when she was married one day, she realized that she could have ketchup on the table, something like this. She could have ketchup on the table because she liked ketchup, even though her husband didn't. That was an epiphany for her. Realizing like, I know it probably sounds crazy to some of you, but that's how she got brought up, was like clearly that you have to do everything your husband does. So just realizing like you get to choose you. And she says right after that, we choose all the pieces of our persona every day. You are making conscious choices about who you are every single day, whether that's you taking a few deep breaths when you start getting angry about something And anger is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You can feel it and then move through it, but you don't want to stay there. But you can choose how you're showing up in the world. You can choose what you wear. You can choose if you feel better wearing nicer clothes and you can afford them, and you figure out a way to afford them, do it. If you feel better in your leggings and your leggings and your slippers and your PJs, like, you can choose that. It's your choice how you show up in the world. If you want to be a positive person, you can work on that. If you want to be more self-confident, you can work on that. She says, oh yeah, that goes into the third thing. Basically, an encounter, she says, with a guru helps. So like listening to podcasts, reading books, going to conferences. So she says to look for content about things that you want to work on. So you can be working on anything you want. I am always reading. I'm like a personal development junkie. Like, it's everywhere. I listen to it in the car. I listen to it on the computer. I read it at night, because it helps me get into the right mind space. It helps me grow in ways that I know I need to grow. And you can be looking for whatever you need. So if you want to look for a podcast that helps with confidence, they're out there. There's a podcast and a YouTube video for everything. If you want to work on learning more about how to change your negative thoughts or how to be conscious of them, there's a video for that. There's a podcast for that. There's a book for that. So anything you feel like you need to work on, anger management, like realizing why those feelings are coming up and working through them, parenting. Oh my God, I've read so many parenting books. Anything you want to work on, you can do it. So this got way longer than I intended. So this was chapter 12, and you want to think about, how have you made yourself smaller? Are you embracing you? And that is all of you, especially for those of you that are on a weight loss journey right now. Quick side note. Have you ever looked back at a picture of you and thought, wow, I look so good? But at the time in that picture, you thought you were like fat and ugly, and your hair looked bad and your clothes looked bad. We all have pictures like that, right? Where we like think we look so bad, and then we look back at it and we're like, oh my God, I would like pay money to look like that now. So think about that. You now, it's the only like you is the you right now. So if you can embrace who you are now and then be working towards something, like, why you don't want to, I don't know how to say this to not, you don't want to be like crapping on yourself now, because it's not going to get you where you want to be. If you have serious goals, especially like weight loss goals, it's so emotional. If you have goals around that, we need to learn how to be okay with where we are, but also be moving towards where we want to go. If you can do that, you will get where you want to go. You will stop being stuck. But if you are always getting mad at where you are now, that's what's playing in your mind. Your thoughts are saying, you're fat, you're blah, blah, blah. I don't like this, I don't like that. That is not going to get you where you want to go. If you want to get where you want to go, you want to start appreciating what you have right now, even if it's not perfect. No one's perfect. Everyone has insecurities, I promise you. But if you want to get somewhere, we need to start changing our thoughts. And I should probably do a whole other video on that. But I hope everyone has a great day. And I just realized I wrote chapter 10. Is this chapter 10? Nope, this is chapter 12. So I'm gonna have to change that little thing that I wrote. But I hope everyone has a great day. Let's embrace all of us and keep moving positive, whatever looks positive to you. I hope everyone has a great day. Bye.